They taught you to admire this flower, not to understand it, not to keep it close, not to use it, to admire it, to place it in a garden, on a label, in a soft, harmless world of colour and decoration. But calendula was never just decoration. Maria Treben knew that. She did not write about calendula as something pretty. She wrote about it as something useful, something humble, something close to human life, something that belonged not only to beauty, but to care. And that is what happens to many powerful things. First, they are made ordinary. Then they are made decorative. Then they are forgotten. Calendula is one of those things. People see its colour, its warmth, its softness, but they no longer see what earlier generations saw. They do not see a flower that belonged in the home, a flower that belonged near the body, a flower that stayed close to the skin, to small irritations, to dryness, to strain, to the quiet wear that life leaves behind. Calendula does not arrive with force. It is not the plant of sharpness. It is not the plant of severity. It is the plant of restoration. And that word matters. Restoration. Because there is a difference between attacking a problem and helping something return to balance. Modern life prefers attack. It prefers urgency, correction, speed, intensity. But nature often works differently. Nature does not always conquer. Very often, it supports, it softens, it steadies. It helps what is strained become less strained. It helps what is irritated become calmer. It helps what has been worn down begin, quietly, to recover. That is the atmosphere of calendula, and perhaps that is why it was so easy to push aside. The modern world does not know what to do with quiet restoration. It knows how to advertise stronger things, faster things, harsher things. It knows how to make the body feel like a project that must always be corrected, improved, and upgraded. But calendula belongs to another world, a world in which care was not always aggressive, a world in which the body was not treated like a machine that had failed, a world in which help could still come in simple forms, a flower, a salve, a warm infusion, a cloth laid gently on the skin. Maria Treben wrote from that world, not because she believed every flower was magic, but because she understood something many people have forgotten. The earth has always offered more than decoration, and human beings once knew how to notice. Calendula is a perfect example of this. Bright enough to be loved, simple enough to be overlooked, close enough to be dismissed. And yet, for a very long time, it was treated with real respect. Not because it looked impressive, because it earned trust. That matters more. A plant becomes part of human memory because people return to it again and again, because mothers kept it, because grandmothers used it, because it stayed near ordinary life, because it proved itself quietly without ever needing to become fashionable. Calendula has that kind of presence. It does not shout. It stays. And this is where calendula becomes more than a symbol, because this flower was never only admired, it was used for the skin, for places that had become dry, sensitive, irritated, or worn down by life. And if you wanted to begin simply, you could begin there, with dried calendula flowers, with hot water, with patience. Let the flowers steep, let the water take on their colour, let it cool until it is warm, not hot. Then use it gently, where the skin feels tired, irritated, or overworked. Not violently, not with panic, gently. That is the lesson hidden inside calendula. Not everything needs force. Sometimes the body does not need pressure. Sometimes it needs warmth. Sometimes it needs calm. Sometimes it needs something that supports what is already trying to heal. That is why calendula still matters. not because it is rare, not because it is mysterious, but because it belongs to a kind of care that the modern world keeps trying to bury beneath speed and surface. The truth that care does not always need drama. The truth that the body often responds to warmth before it responds to theory. The truth that what is bright and beautiful may still carry use. The truth that a flower may be more than an ornament. Think about what modern life has done with flowers. It has turned them into atmosphere, branding, packaging, aesthetic. But many flowers once belonged to practical life. They were not only admired, they were known, prepared, trusted. Calendula belongs to that older category. It is beautiful, yes, but beauty was never the whole story. And perhaps this is the deeper pattern. The things most easily reduced to decoration are often the things that once had real meaning. When people no longer understand the value of something, they keep only its image. They keep the colour, they keep the surface, and they lose the knowledge. Calendula became a flower image, a soft botanical symbol, a warm aesthetic. But behind that image stood something older, something more grounded, a relationship between plant and person, between slowness and care, between the skin and what the earth quietly offers it. That relationship is what this channel keeps returning to, not fantasy. Return. Return to the idea that not everything valuable needs a dramatic entrance. Return to the idea that care can still be simple. Return to the possibility that what has been ignored is not small, only ignored. Calendula teaches that lesson beautifully. Do not confuse gentleness with weakness. Do not confuse beauty with emptiness. Do not assume that what grows quietly has no power. Some things do not need violence to matter. Some things matter because they restore what has been worn down. And tell me honestly, is that not what so many people need now? Not more stimulation, not more pressure, not more correction, not more noise, restoration. The skin grows tired, the nerves grow tired, the mind grows tired, even the spirit grows tired. Modern life leaves little abrasions everywhere. Some are visible, most are not. A person can look completely normal and still feel worn thin, still feel rubbed raw by pace, expectation, light, speed, and too much contact with things that never truly nourish. Calendula belongs to the answer for that kind of life. Not because one flower solves everything, but because it reminds you that care can still be slower, warmer, and more human. So when you look at Calendula now, do not look at it only as a pretty flower. Look again. Look at the colour. Look at the warmth. Look at the quiet steadiness of it. Look at what earlier generations were able to see in plain sight. Then ask yourself a harder question. What else was reduced to decoration so that you would stop taking it seriously? What else was made harmless in appearance so that you would no longer understand its place in real life? Because forgetting rarely begins with destruction. Very often it begins with trivializing, with making something seem too ordinary to matter, too gentle to notice, too familiar to respect. Calendula survived that. It is still here, still bright, still humble, still carrying more meaning than most people give it. And perhaps that is why this flower deserves your attention for a while. Not as a product, not as a trend, as a reminder that power is not always loud, a reminder that restoration has its own strength, a reminder that what was ignored may still be waiting, quietly, patiently, faithfully, like a flower, like calendula, like something the world taught you to overlook, only because it never stopped being real.